All right, well, good afternoon. Welcome to this Matrix webinar. It's on public record searching. Inside of Matrix, you can search the tax records or public records. And there's also a realist search too that I'll mention too. And I'll kind of show that they're almost pretty much kind of the same, except that they're just different programs. One's outside of Matrix and one's inside of Matrix. And the one that's actually outside of Matrix, which is Realist, is a CoreLogic product, and I do know it very well. And it does have a couple of extra features, but so I'll try to highlight those, and I'll try to show you some of the similarities, but I'll show you probably why you might want to just use the one inside of Matrix, but by all means, you can use, like I said, there's benefits to it outside of Matrix also. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in to the system here. So what you should be seeing now, should be seeing your Williamsburg Multiple Listing Service, your matrix system here. Okay, so hopefully, I just want to check my screen here. Yep, everyone should be seeing that there. You actually have an IMAP tax program too. Now, I don't know IMAP. Okay, that's a different company, a different product, so I don't know that. So I don't know how it compares to Realist. I don't know if it's better or worse, or just like any competitors, there's usually probably features in one that's better than the other, and vice versa. So at least you have options there, but I can't go into any further detail into IMAP just simply because it's not my program. But I can get into Realist and show you that. So this Realist option here, also if you look underneath search, the search tab, search up here at the top all the way to all, these are listing searches for listings in a system in the MLS. Then you can also do an agent or an office search. But down here is the public record search. And what you're finding in here, when you do a search in here inside of Matrix, you're going to find basically the same information that you find in Realist tax, just because that's where it gets fed from. Once Realist gets it, they share it with its sister company, Matrix, and they put it inside here, public records. Now, where does Realist get it from? Well, they get it from each county, each location or jurisdiction of the tax records. So that's where they get it from. Okay, and I would assume IMAP does the same thing. I would assume that IMAP gets the same information that Realist because they're getting it from the same source there. Okay. I will say though that even though we get it from the same source, there are sometimes things don't transfer over correctly, and sometimes there are little issues. Just like any program, especially that has data, sometimes data can just get broken or needs to be corrected or something like that. So things like that do happen, and sometimes you might see it in IMAP and you might see it in Realist once in a while. And if you ever do see something that's not right, that's a discrepancy, you can always report it to your MLS and they'll investigate it. And if it is indeed a problem or whatever, but basically what you see in your tax systems, your county tax records or your I guess cities, because I realize that in some, and I'm not used to this, but I guess in some places in Virginia, you don't actually have a county. It's more or less, an area or a city or something like that. So I just want to mention that this public record search is basically the same thing as this Realist search. But like I said, when you open up the Realist tax, it actually takes you out of Matrix and it takes you to another program called Realist, which is a CoreLogic product. And it has been updated recently also. So for those that have used Realist in the past, it used to be Adobe or Flash Player, and it used to need Adobe Flash Player. And that created a problem when you're trying to use it on your tablet or a mobile device. It just wasn't mobile friendly just because it needed the Adobe Flash Player there. Well, that has been fixed, and it is now a fresher look at Realist. So it does not need the Adobe Flash Player, which means it can just run freely on any device, any tablet, any phone and stuff out there. And if you have ever used Realist in the past, it's you'll see it looks very similar. Everything's still in the same location. It's just more of a cleaner, fresher look out there. So here you got a quick search and a my search. So basically on the left-hand side here, you can close this down, and then you got just two other sides, or you can open that back up again. Okay, you can close it down or open it up. So this first section of Realist here is basically 3 sections. You got the searching, the map section, and the grid section. And you can close this down. And then up here, you got split, map, or list. So you can just look at just the map. And I know we're just looking into the ocean somewhere. Let's keep zooming out. Wow, way down there. Okay, I'm not sure why it defaulted down there, but we'll zoom in on Williamsburg area here. Okay. So yeah, I'm not really sure why that did. I might have to look into it and see if we can get that fixed. But yeah, your default map should be somewhere in this area here. And then you can switch it to a list view, because sometimes you're going to have a list of properties. You just want to focus on them, get rid of the map. Sometimes you just want to focus on the map and not the list. And sometimes you might want to look at both, the map and the list. And then obviously, if you need a search, you need to open up that little search option and do your search here. So in comparison to Matrix, and under the search tab here, public records search, you're going to notice this looks different than Realist. Okay, I mean, here's your Realist hacks where you can search. Here's your Matrix. Now, the nice thing about it being inside of Matrix, right here under public record, it looks just like Matrix. It looks just like you're searching residential listings. It looks just like you're searching any other property types here. You got the 3 tabs up here, criteria, map, and results. Well, if I go to search public records here, you got criteria, map, and results. Everything flows very similar. You're already used to this because you're already using Matrix as your MLS system. So you're saying, well, why should I use Realist then? Because like you said, if I did a search here, if I did an owner name and look at your county up here, Williamsburg, okay? And here's all your counties you can use. Right now, I just got Williamsburg City up here. But I could have added more. So if I did a search here in Williamsburg City with last name, owner last name of Hensley, and I did my search here, looks like I only got one result right here. Okay, one house, one property there. If I did that in here, I did last name Hensley, and I say Williamsburg, look at this. I only got one match here too. And if I go to results, it's Donald Hensley, which I do have a cousin Donald. I don't think that's him, but there is the owner there. If I look at it here, right now, I'm looking at a card view or gallery view. If I switch it, there's Donald right there. Or I can switch it to a gallery view, which was this here. So I'm going to just switch it back to the single line view here. So you can see I got the same thing. Now, if I go up here and change my area, and let's say I do, let's see, I tell you what, let me see what we had up here, criteria, what other, James City. Let's include James City also. Well, back here, let's include James City as well. Right there. Okay. So counties have been updated. So if I hit search here, I got 3, Shannon and Patricia, along with Donald. Well, if I do it here, notice that I got 3. And I go to results, I got the 3 here. So as you can see, I just like to kind of do that just to kind of give people peace of mind that they're seeing the same stuff. It just looks a little different out there. And so what you see in one is you'll see in the other. So you still have the same 3 here also. So, but there are some extra benefits to the full system of Realist. But there, you know what? There's also some benefits of it being in public that neither of them can really do. And I'm going to show that to you today. So for right now, I'm going to show you the public record search in Matrix. and just show you what you can do, and just know that you can do it in Realist too. And then at the end, I'll show you the benefits of what you can do in public record search inside of Matrix that you can't do in Realist, and then I'll show you what you can do in Realist that you can't do here. So that way you'll know the difference is a little different there. So here on the criteria tab, you notice, you got all these fields here. You can even say owner occupied, yes or no. So maybe I don't want to search by an owner name. Maybe I want to search the city of Williamsburg for all activity that's currently in foreclosure, actively in foreclosure. And right now I got 2 matches here. And I can go to results, and there's those 2 matches. Okay. Same thing up here real quick. Let me go back and change it to just Williamsburg. And then you'll notice on this quick search here, I only have address, owner name, MLS listing, and PID. But if I switch it to my search, now I've got a lot more fields that I can put here. And I was going to see if foreclosure's here. No, foreclosure's not here, but that's fine. We got this custom search right here, and I can add more fields. So if I go in here, I'll look for foreclosure indicator, and now it's in my list over here, and I can hit apply, and now you can see my foreclosure indicator, and here I can say yes or no. So if I say yes, I should get 2 matches, and there they are. So there they are, still got the same thing. Okay. Now what you get also, let me go back to criteria. Let me take this Williamsburg out and let me leave Williamsburg in, just take out foreclosure there. And let me just do a search. I know there's over 4,627 listings here, but now as I do a search, I want to point out these first 4 columns. You have those first 4 columns here also. So just remember that you still have them here. This first column is actually a picture. Okay, you see the picture of the listings here. So and the second one is a balloon. Okay, the balloon is, and I think you should say what that column is. Yeah, it doesn't actually say, but the second column actually says if you see a balloon, it's in the MLS. If you don't see a balloon, it's not in the MLS. Now the question is, how far back does your MLS go? Well, it's hard to know. It's, I mean, I don't know that question. That's something your MLS might answer, but most MLSs, I would say, go back at least 10 years, maybe more. Okay, a lot of them are getting farther and farther back now. So some of them go back, at least 20 years. So I don't really know how far back your MLS carries data, but the bottom line is, if you see a balloon here, it's in the MLS. Okay, the color of the balloon will tell you, like here, you can see this one's sold. The orange here is pending. The green one here is active. So as you scroll down, you can see that not only is it in the MLS, but it's an active listing also. And if it's in the MLS, chances are we have a picture of it. If it's not in the MLS, then we probably don't have a picture of it, okay, because no one submitted a photo for it there. So that's another indicator. Now these next 2 columns, and I kind of wish we had a little indicators telling you what they are, but one's a foreclosure indicator. Let's see if Realist does here. I think Realist does. Yeah, MLS listing. See, the first one was a photo indicator. Second column was MLS listing indicator. The third one is a foreclosure stage indicator. And the last one is a distressed sale, like a bank owned or a REO property there. So if I scroll down, let's just go to in fact, I'm going to change this from 25 listings to 50 listings per page. Scroll down. Okay, I still didn't have any here. Scroll down. Still didn't. I do have a black one. That means it's been released. Let's go to the next one. Okay, don't see any here. Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do is just go back to criteria and say in foreclosure, I'm going to take out this city or county here and see how many foreclosures we have completely. There we go, 1,589, pretty much in all those counties or cities that we have. And what do we have here? Looks like we have almost the entire state of Virginia. Look at that. Okay, it looks like it. Please don't hold me to it, but I don't know all your locations in the state, but that looks pretty darn close. In fact, let's look at the map here. There we go. Okay, maybe not the entire state, but it looks like the whole eastern part. Didn't look like we got the western part there, or maybe not all the way up to the north there. So looks like we got a lot of them there. So that's actively in foreclosure. So now you can see this column here. It's an REO, real estate only. There's a auction. Okay, and I'm just going to jump ahead here. There's a pre-foreclosure. Okay, those are about the three that I normally see there. Okay, and here's one that's a distressed sale. It's a short sale, so we do even have those in there too. Okay, so yeah, so you just got a lot of stuff here you can search for, and I just did, and that's another benefit to Realist or doing a public record search here in Matrix is I don't have to pick a location. Okay, I can just leave that blank. Whereas in Realist, I have to have an account. I have to have a county. Let me try it. See, I can't apply it. I have to have a location. And here's the other problem. I can only do a total of 8. So once I get past 8, it's just going to stop and not allow me to do that. So that's another benefit of not using the Realist here. Well, not another benefit, but one of the benefits there. But like I said, there's more in Realist that we can't do here. And I think as time goes on, I think we'll get closer and closer and eliminate the differences there out there, which I would think we should do. So that's actively in foreclosure. Let's go back to say Williamsburg here. You can do your map search just like you're normally doing. You can just go in here and draw your shape of what area that you want it to be in. You can do a transaction date. You can even come in here and do a search for active listings. Now, why would you do a search for active MLS listings when you got the MLS right here? Okay, but you could. I mean, if there's a reason you needed to, you could do that. And if we're missing any fields in here, down here at the bottom, you can say add and add any extra. Now, remember, these fields are not the MLS fields. These are the tax record fields, the public record fields. So they're not the same MLS fields that we ask for inside of when you add a listing. So these are different fields. Okay, I just want to make sure you realize that part there. And I think what a lot of people will do when they use public record searches is mailing labels. I think mailing labels is a huge benefit to doing a public record search. People like to do postcards. Maybe they just listed or sold a property in a certain neighborhood, and now they want to search for it there. So what I'm going to do here real quick is I just want to find a property real quick in 3919 Northridge, okay? 3919 Northridge. Let's say I just listed that property. So what I could do is I could do a map search here, and I could type in the address up here, jump to, and I could do 3919 Northridge. And right there it is in Williamsburg. Okay, I think it's Williamsburg. I didn't, yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's say I just listed that property. So what I could do, now notice all the pins that show up on my map here. All these pins are actually parcels, okay, not listings. Just remember, this is not a listing search, this is a parcel search. So as I do this here, you can see, you can click on it and see each property here. This is what we call walking the block. Why can't I close that down there? There we go, okay. Seems like it's moving slow on me here. Now it says 3919 Northridge. I don't know why it's not on the map there. Seems like it should be down here more. Right here. So I don't know why. Oh, okay. Is it on? the other side of the street then. That's kind of weird. Where is 3919 at? Huh, okay, that's just kind of interesting. Usually it's right on the map itself there. Let me switch this from a map view to a satellite view here. Okay, it's probably a new division. There it is, a new subdivision, okay, which they actually haven't plotted yet. So lucky me, I picked the right house, the right property here, okay? So that's why I'm glad the satellite view's here, just because you can see that they're still building the property there, okay? So it looked like it did have a parcel number. It's just that they haven't actually, or at least the map is not finished yet. But you would think they would actually have the parcel lined out there too, okay? So let's say I just got the listing and I want to tell this neighborhood about it. I want all these people here to know that I've got a listing. So what I could do, and you can go out further and kind of pick, you know, a bigger territory if you like, but let's just say I just want to let these people know. So then what I could do is come up here and draw a polygon, draw a shape around it, and then what I'll do is just click, 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 and then click. So those are all the houses, all the owners that live in that area there. I want to tell them about it. So once I did that, now when I go to results, here's all 114 of those people there. And then if this is who I want to mail the labels to, all I need to do is select all. And then down here at the bottom, I would just hit print. And I can either print that grid out, print out the 360 property view or multi-map view of all those properties. And you can just click on one and hit preview to see what it actually looks like. Okay, there's a list of them. There's the houses there. Okay. But if I say, you got all your mailing labels here, so you could either do the property address or the tax address. The property address is the physical location. Okay, it could be a renter living there, but it's the actual house address. This one here is the tax address. So wherever the tax address is, the property might be there, but the owner might be in California somewhere. But it'll address it as current residence. So do you want the title to be current resident and go to the current property, physical property address, or say current resident in a tax address? Or do you want it to say owner name, the actual owner name, person who owns it, and send it to the physical address, or have owner name and send it to the mailing label here? Here, this will say both, current resident or owner, current resident or owner. So it really depends on who you're targeting. If you're targeting vacant homes, you know, where, you know, the owner doesn't live at the same place, then you could send it to the physical property address and say current residence. Okay, but if you do want to make sure you get it in the hands of the owner, then I would make sure you pick this one, and I would say tax address on here too. So then when you go to print PDF, you're going to see all the owners' names. And let's see if there's one in Newport News, there's one in Fairfax. So they don't actually live. There's Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay, so we're not sending it to the physical property address that I chose. If I would say current resident and I say property address, now it's going to be that address of that location, and it's just going to say current resident. But you notice the address is on one of those streets that I drew a section around. Okay. Now I will say we give you a limit of 5,000. You can printing. There is no limit. You can print as many here as you want. Now, if I did that same thing in Realist and I drew the shape around that area and I went to labels here, you do have a limitation of 5,000. Printing or exporting, you have 5,000 limits. So if you have a lot of these to do, I would not do it in Realist because we keep count of how many you export out of the system here. Okay. Whereas in Matrix, all you're doing is printing. Here, you're actually exporting it. Even though I didn't go to export down here, even printing labels is still exporting them out of the system, or at least in Realist terms, it is. Okay. So that's your mailing labels there. You could actually email these. Go to email these properties. Now, I only selected the first 50, but you could email this to someone or whatever if you need to. Chances are people would, if they email, they're just going to email 1 or 2 properties to someone who's looking at buying the house so they can see it and stuff. But that's typically, and here you can notice we can export out of Matrix. And if you do that, we still use the 5,000 limits that you have in Realist. Now it is a different 5,000. So technically you have 5,000 here in Matrix you could export. And if you want to export or do the mailing labels here, this is a combined 5,000, but then you get 5,000 more here. But normally people don't need to export or print out that many labels. So that's a lot of postage if you're going to do mailing labels there. But you can. And we have that limit just because there would be some companies or some people that would just really gouge the system. And by doing that, it's just going to really slow things down. And so we do put some kind of limitation there for you. Okay. Now you can change this grid to a 360 property view. And very similar to what you see in Matrix, because this looks like Matrix, doesn't it? It looks just like I did a search for listings. But when I go to a 360 property view here, now I'm looking at the tax records first, and then the last listing if it had been listed before. This one hadn't been listed before. So if I keep scrolling through until I get to a parcel or record that had a last listing. In fact, I'm going to go back to the single line grid, and here's one that had a listing. So I'm just going to click on, actually, if you click on the address, you notice what it said there. It said view map. But if I come over here and I click on the parcel, that takes me to that 360 view. Now I can see this tax records and the last listing, then the photos, then the history. Now watch this history. Okay, this history is both MLS history, every time it was listed and changed price, and the sale history of the public record. So if I scroll to the next part, you can see the listing history, sale history, and mortgage history. So it depends on what property we pull up. You can see all kinds. We'd even see foreclosure information if it had been in a foreclosure in the past. In fact, we have a foreclosure tab here that if this listing was ever in foreclosure, or this tab here only is available if it's currently in foreclosure. It could have had a foreclosure in this past somewhere, but this would still be grayed out. It has to be actively in foreclosure for that one to be available. So as I scroll through some more, I'm just kind of curious and see what kind of history I get. Now, if I did a search here and I came to a property, you'll notice we get different options up here. Okay, and this is where the difference comes in at. Whereas if you did a search here in Matrix for public records, you have these set of tabs, which is history. And this history is a combination of both MLS and public records. Now you actually have the history on here too. It's under your property details. So if I scroll down more, you will see the history of it down here. We also have a score indicator, and that's something new that you only get in Realist, not the Matrix public records. Estimated value, this is something else that's extra. Here's the history of it though, right here, last sale history, but it's only the public record history, it's not the MLS history. Well, I take that back. Well, you don't see it every time it changed price, and I think you'll see every time it had listed in the MLS, but you won't see all the change price and stuff. And there's your maps and stuff here, okay? And I'll talk about that sale indicator and things like that too, okay? But watch this. Let me go back here. By me finding one property, and when I double click on it to open it up in Realist, one click right next to it, it will go out and find comparable properties for me, or what it thinks are comparable properties. We don't have that in the Matrix one. It is coming though, it is coming. But one click, you can see the public records, or the comparables, I'm saying. So when you find a property, right next to it, you hit a button and it runs. And really what it does, it's really a simple search that it's doing. In fact, if you go up here and look at the search criteria it's using, it's really basic. It's searching both tax and the MLS. It's just including, and it's just sorting it that way, and it's only going up to 10 properties here. But it's going out only a mile, which, by the way, you can change. It's not even doing a sales price or a year built. It's not even doing beds or bathrooms. It is including distressed sales. But what it's doing is going by recording date, not the sales date, and it's only going back 12 months. And the square footage of the lots, well, actually it's not using square footage of the lot, it's only doing the square footage of the house, of the property. And it's doing a plus or minus 15%. So whatever that square footage is, it's going below 15% of it and above 15% of it 1 year back within a mile of the property. And it's finding the properties that are zoned the same way, okay? That's really all it's doing. It's not doing too much more, but you can always come in and say, you know what, 12 months, that's a little too far. I only want to go back 6 months instead. And maybe only a half of a mile. And now submit it and see what the difference is. I had 10, now I only got 1. Okay, well, I think I narrowed it down too much now. So I can go back to my search criteria and change this. Maybe I go out to 3/4 of a mile and hit submit. And okay, I still got 1. Let's go back out. Maybe it was the 6 months back. Maybe I need to go out, 9 months instead. I could have changed the square footage difference too. Okay. And now I got 2 down here. So the Realist is nice if you want to find comps very, very quickly. It's just basically a 1 click. You still need to do your due diligence and really research and stuff, but for doing CMAs and Matrix, if you've ever done a CMA and Matrix, probably one of the first place I would start is opening up Realist. And then back here on the address, typing in your property that you want to search for. And then once you find that property, click on the comparables tab and just see what it thinks you should use for comps. I'm not saying you should use them, it's just at least you can look at them and evaluate it there. And then you can come over here and adjust your criteria. And then down here, there is a generate reports, and it'll just give you basically like a 1-page report of that comparable properties that you found. And this one only found 2, and there they are right there. So just something you can print it or email it, but it's something there. Right next to it, you got neighbors. And all these things I'm showing you now is just in the Realist program, not in the Matrix public records. But like I said, we are trying to get that comparables tab, that 1-click button inside of Matrix, so that will be nice. There's the neighbors. There's the closest neighbors there to it. I really don't know the benefit to this here. Down here, you can just see the neighbors next to them here, and you can kind of scroll through and look at them all. So, neighbor profile. This is like a little demographics here. It's gonna, whatever zip code this house is in, it's going to give you the demographics, the estimated population, households, the age breakdowns here, marital status, gender, housing, occupancy, fair market rates, quality of life, household income, just a lot of good stuff. The average temperature in January versus July, education. Here's the highest attended here. We'll even get into schools down here. Public record schools, private schools, and businesses here too. And you can change the search criteria, because maybe you don't want all businesses. Maybe you just want certain businesses. Maybe you don't want all schools. Maybe you want schools out farther away. Maybe you just want public or private schools. Maybe you just want high schools, not preschool stuff. If you hit submit, it just temporarily changes it. If I hit save and submit, it'll permanently change it until I change it again. So I'll just hit cancel here. So the neighborhood profile is really cool. And then foreclosure. If a house has a foreclosure information on it, like this one does, see it's a bank-owned REO, it does give you some information, okay? out there. But let me click this one here, because this one I think was in foreclosure too, and see if it has some more foreclosure information on it. Okay, that looks like we should have some more information, I would think, on there. So, so I'll look into that and see why we don't have some more information there. Okay. So going back here to Matrix, we have these tabs going across. So it is different tabs that what you had there. This one here, but just remember your history is a combination. Look, yeah, I can see all the times it's been listed and changed price along with the sales and mortgage history. I can also see the parcel map. And this will actually break it down to 3 different stages here. You'll have this view, a satellite view, a map view that has the boundaries on there, lot dimensions, and then you have the map here. But any one of these you can change. You can zoom out closer, maybe put the satellite on this one and turn this one to a map view. And maybe zoom out a little bit more. And this one here, maybe zoom out even more. And then, but turn on boundaries for it. Turn on the zip code boundaries. So now you're seeing the zip code boundaries and maybe a little bit more there. Okay. So, so that's kind of flexible there in a way. Right next to it on that property, you can see the flood zone, the flood map on it. Okay, that one looks like it's pretty safe. Here's your legend down here that you can see where the color codes. Looks like everything's out of the special hazard area. Up above, you can actually see the flood code and a panel number and dates and all that stuff there. If I zoom out a little bit more, maybe I'll find some flood area here. Oh, if you go out too far, the flood zone does turn off. That's why it turned off there. So you have to be at a certain level. Okay, so if I zoom over, there is some flood area over here. Okay. And then foreclosure there. So remember, you just keep going next, 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 and keep looking at them all here. Okay. And you can go back to the tax grid there. If I go to map here, what you can do, we also have the boundaries here. So here you can turn on zip code boundaries, just like you did in one. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. You can turn on, and you can in both of them turn on multiple boundaries. So here you can turn on the school districts here. There we go. What you can do is turn on parcel characteristics. That there you have to zoom in really close. Trends. I really like this trends. Now you actually have this in both of them here. So let me just show the map here. If I go to the up here, you got the boundaries. So if I turn on the here, oh wow, we actually have high school, middle school, and elementary school boundaries here. So we have it here. I think we should turn this on also in the matrix one, because in the matrix one we only had school districts. Okay, in this one here, you'll notice we only had the school districts. I think we need to turn on the high school too, because we're getting the information from the same place there. That is something we can turn on here. So here you can see the high school boundary lines, which I think is still good. You still want to do your due diligence and confirm it. Just because the map and layers were showing it, things do change. So you might want to just double check it and make sure. So there's your boundaries. Over here, you got this distressed property. So this is kind of cool, because here you can say, I want to see all the bank-owned properties, auction, pre-foreclosure, short sales, bank-owned properties. Let's close this up, and you're starting to see them pop up here. Well, or do I have to move in closer? No, I think that's it. I think that's the properties. Yeah, those are that. Okay. Oh, no, here it is. My bad. My bad. Here they are down here. See the little pins? Purple is a short sale. Green is a bank owned. If I see some auctions, it gives it a second. It has to kind of populate in here. Well, maybe. I see some over here. Okay, maybe we just don't have any in this area there. There we go. Okay. So there's your pin location. So you still have that kind of same thing here. It's just under That's your characteristics. That's your trends. I'll show that in a second. Here's your, actually, you know what? We don't have that yet. It is coming. Because here you like to turn on the distressed sale property. So we don't have that yet here in the boundaries. We do have trends, median sales price. And what this does, it breaks it down by zip code. So now you can see the zip code, the median sale price. The darker the color, there we go. So these are all zip codes here, just breaking it down. And that's median sales price. You can do the sales activity. Let's see how much activity. So the activity, the deeper the color, like in yellow, the more sales. The orange is even higher. So you can see there's not as much activity here than there is here. Zip code, neighborhood. I'm doing both single family and condos. Let's just do single family. There we go. So that's trends. We do have trends up here. That's points of interest. That's driving directions. This is your locate on the map. Oh, here's your trends right here. So you still have the same things there. Zip codes, you still have the same things there. Property types, still have the same things there. So here's your pin location, distress sales. Here's your sales value. So you can say, you know what, I want to see all the tax sales. Okay, don't know why I can't make, do I have to zoom in more to see that? Not sure why I can't turn that on. I can turn on all the, oh, you know why? Because I got too many picked here. Let's turn off high school. Let's turn all these off. See, you can only have a total of 8, and I had way too many on there. That was on that, that was on this distressed sales one. I had way too many picked there, so I had to turn them off. Now I can turn on tax. Now I can see how many active, pending, expired, and sold listings are out there. That's just 3 months. Let's go back 9 months. Let's go back 9 months, and let's go back 9 months. So here's the activity that's going on. See, the red ones are solds in this neighborhood. So if someone's about to move into a neighborhood, you can kind of get a feel. The red ones are sold listings. That's an active listing. That's active listing. That's a pending listing. And if you see one that's just a sign, like this one here, that's a tax, a change in a tax. So it could be a for sale by owner, but it also could be from father to son or parents to kid, a change there. Okay, so that's not necessarily a for sale by owner, but it could be there. Okay, if you really, really look closer, even these ones that have a red balloon, there's still a red sign behind it because every MLS sale does go through the tax records also as a tax sale. So you will see that on the red balloons, most likely. And if you don't see it, I don't think I see one here. And it's probably just because maybe it hasn't actually entered yet. It must, maybe it's a newer sale. Okay, well, looks like the date was back in February, so I don't know why it wouldn't be up to date there. Okay, so so that's what you got there. So it's really some good stuff, you guys. Good information here. Okay, I'm just going to turn off the, so we don't have that part yet in there where I can turn on the actives and stuff like that. But you've got that there. Let's see here. Now I do want to also say that if you ever do a search for listings, which I'm sure you've been doing a lot, you might already have seen this, but if I do a search for listings and I click on the MLS number, it takes me to that long view, which I don't know why it takes you here. It really should take you to, we have this 360 property view. I don't know if you know about this, but we have a 360 view, which I think is the better one to default to. Because look at all these tabs here. So now whenever you find a listing, side by side, you see tax records. Side by side there, okay? So when you find a listing, you don't have to go out to Realist. In fact, there is a Realist button here. See that TX button? And there is an IMAP button. Now, like I said, I don't know IMAP, so I don't know how it compares or differs from Realist. But at least within Matrix, I really don't even need to click on that tax button because it takes me to another listing. And I don't know why they didn't find correctly there. Okay, because that one should have found. Let me pull up another one here. Okay, if I hit that tax button, it should give me the property details, and this is coming from Realist. But why do I need to do that when right here, right next to it, is the tax records? Okay, and then all I have to do is hit print down here, and I can print the listing and the tax records at the same time. Whereas, let's go back. If I was back on that long one and there's no tabs there, now it's like, well, how do I get the tax records? Well, now here you have to click the tax tab there, open this up, and now you have to hit the print button way up here to the top right, and then come back here, hit the print button, and only print the listing out. Well, if I'm on the 360 view, I can print the tax and the listing at the same time, and the history, and the parcel map, and the flood map, and if available, the foreclosure too, if it's actively in foreclosure. So to me, I would just do that within Matrix here, okay? And do all that stuff there. And that's just search for listings. But side by side, you were able to see the tax records, which I think is huge. So like I said, for the most part, I think I would do most of my searching in Matrix. I would keep it, do a public record search here, type in, you know, the information you want, go to results, do your mailing labels, do all that stuff. Whereas the only difference, the only reason why I might use Realist is because one, you've got these, you got this tab here, distressed sale properties, which I like. Okay, I think that is a neat information of wealth of information there for you. Well, we have this. This is also in both systems, so that's there. But I think the other nice thing is, let me zoom in on a property here. As I find a property and I go to report, it takes me to the second screen here, a more detailed view, if you will. And one click right next to it gives me comps. And it gives me the neighborhood profile, which I like also. Okay, so so that's a benefit I like Realist for there. But remember, the comparable tab will be coming inside of Matrix here soon, okay, later this year. And back on this property detail screen, if I scroll down a little bit, there is some information that is not in the Matrix public record. One of them is the sales score indicator, okay? And you can just read the sales score indicator or sales score indicates the relative likelihood of a property will be listed for sale in the next 6 months. So assuming this property is not actively on the market, and I don't think it is, I think it would say active up here. It's not, so what's the likelihood of this property going on the market in the next 6 months? Well, 587 out of 1,000, so it's getting higher and higher, more likely there. And let's see if you can see it here. Properties with a very high sales score represent the top 5% properties most likely to sell and are 2.6 times more likely to sell than the average property. And it gets lower and lower. Now, how do they actually determine this? Not really sure yet, okay? This is a brand new feature. I'm still trying to learn it myself. I know there's a lot of analytics go into it. CoreLogic, we're huge in the real estate industry, just not with listings, but with tax records, with lenders and mortgages and appraisers and all that good stuff. So we get a lot of information from a lot of different sources. So how it gets there, I really don't know yet, okay? But we do have an estimated value. Now, it's an AVM. I don't know if you guys know what an AVM is. AVM stands for Automated Value Modular. Automated means it's automatically done. It's a computer, just like Zillow has with their Zestimate. There's all kinds of AVMs out there. Well, guess what? We have one too. Well, who's right and who's wrong? Well, we think ours is better than everyone else, of course. Don't be scared of this. A lot of people are scared of this. They don't want the client to see it because they say there's no way this house, you know, is valued at $435,000. There's no way they'll be lucky to get $350 out of it. Well, you can use it to your advantage. Your clients are probably already seeing this. They probably already went out to Zillow and all these other ones and found their score. And yes, we have one too. But at least it prepares you as to what it's thinking, and it even tells you a range it could sell for. And the higher the confidence score, the better we have comps for it. So we did our own little CMA, if you will. And now 65 is not that high. I think if you get into the 80s, that's much more confident we are. And the higher the score, the lower the standard deviation would be. The deviation kind of sets that range there. So 15% above and below the AVM. And it's valued as of, we did this value as of April 22nd. So it just kind of tells you what it thinks, but you are the expert. This is where you can come in and say why it's wrong, because you live in this neighborhood. You've done real estate here forever and ever. You know that the neighbor next door has a, meth lab in their garage or something like that, or the house inside is in shambles, where the computer doesn't know the condition of the property. It doesn't know the history of the neighborhood. It doesn't know that stuff, where you do. So don't be scared of these. It's just out there. Everyone's got them. Everyone's got their own opinion, but it can help you gauge your opinion on that there. Okay. You can turn it off if you go to custom view. You can come in and turn off the estimated value. Okay. Like I said, I'd like having it on. Let's just turn back on there. But if you go to print it or email it down here, you can turn it off so it won't show. And you can turn off the sales score indicator too if you don't want. There's your last market history, mortgage, and property map here. Okay. But yeah, I just want to show you these two, because those two are not in your matrix one. It's not in the public record one, but it is there. And as you do find a property, you can always click on a parcel ID, and then once you find it, let's go back to the tax record here. I thought we had a link into Realist itself. Yeah, we should have a link up here to Realist. I think we do under the residential listings. I know we do here. Let's change it to the 360 view. See, when I'm on tax, now we don't have it. We should have a link right here. So that's something else. Now I will say we just got updated. In fact, I think it was yesterday that you've got the new Realist up there. So some of you might have been on a webinar for the new Realist yesterday. So it's just been turned on. So that might be why some of the stuff is still not there yet. But there should be a link right here into that takes you in a Realist. And it'll tell you how recent the information has been updated. Okay, because you're not sure, well, when did they do their last data pull? Here, if I go into Realist, right here, you can see Williamsburg is April 13th. If I pick James City, that was April 13th. If I do, I think York was one of them here, April 15th there. So you can see that value of when they were last updated. We should have a little link right here too to tell you that of when it gets updated. Okay. Okay, any questions? Everyone's been kind of quiet, so I hope it's been worth the while, but do you have any questions for me? Did I show you more than you wanted to know, or not enough, or still questions out there? And you will get a link to the recording of this, and it'll come from my email address, so you can always reply to it if you do think of more questions. You can always reply and say, you know what, I didn't think of this while we're on the call, but can you help me with this question there? Anything? Did this help? Did I confuse you? Following along, your demo was in my neighbor. Ah, cool. Thanks, Chris. I should have used your house. No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks you guys. I appreciate your time today. Hopefully, you guys having good weather. Hopefully, everyone's doing good and staying safe, and be on the lookout for more webinars. This might be the last one for this month. I think it is. Let me double check my. Yes, it is. This is the last webinar for this month. The next one will probably be later June. So, and I don't know what the topics are yet, but they'll post it for you. They'll let you know what the questions are or the topics are, the webinars and stuff. So, all righty. Well, thanks you guys. Hope you guys have a good day, and hope you guys sign up for the next ones next month. All right. Have a good day.